All right. Welcome to the Alex Olinger podcast. It's what date is it? I don't know. I didn't check that. Turn it up. Turn up the bass in my headphones. Turn up the bass in the snare in your life. Turn up the music a little bit. That's the message for the week. Turn the music up. Enjoy yourself. Do what you want to do, man, because as I'm learning more and more so in my life, you can't control anything, and everything ends up being kind of bad. So just enjoy it and I'm not trying to sound negative or nihilistic, but take this for instance. This podcast should be called Me and the Cat, because it's me and the cat. And the thing about the cat is that he's fat. He's a fat cat. And we took him into the vet because he had like a skin thing going on. We took him in the vet said that he was fat and didn't fix the skin thing. They just gave him back. They said, this is a fat cat and we don't want to touch him. So why don't you take him back and feed him some better food? Apparently, Iams in that dry food is essentially the equivalent of pasta. It's all carbs. So I've been just feeding this cat like 2 fat bowls of pasta a day, and he's been getting fatter and fatter and screaming at me, just demanding things. He wants to play with toys. He can barely move to play with them. He just waves one arm at the toy, but that's something I need to do for him, And he's fat, and it's going good. We've been giving him wet food, which is better for him. It has less carbs in it, and now he's pissed off, and has been walking around the apartment meowing and slamming the drawers, like the cabinet doors. He'll like pull it and let it slam. And he does that a lot. So the cat's getting healthier and at the same time getting more pissed off. And that relates back to what I said at the beginning. Because even when things are getting better, they're kind of getting worse at the same time. So enjoy yourself. I mean, when this cat meows at me now, I just kind of I just ignore him and I just walk past him. Sometimes I yell, I raise my voice at him, and he runs away, and then 5 minutes later, he comes back and meows at me. And you're like, why? You might be sitting there wondering why I bring the cat up every episode. It's because I don't take notes, and I haven't prepared really anything for this podcast because 4 people listen to it. And I talk about the cat because the cat's in the room and it's one of the first things I'm looking at. So, yeah, you just again, 3 to 4 people listen to it. And I'm not trying to sound negative. I haven't promoted this at all. I haven't put any of the legwork into actually making this a big podcast, I don't have a studio. I have a live mic plugged right into my laptop, and that's the way I'm gonna keep it for a while. I don't feel like promoting this thing really. The thing with the cat, the fat cat is we're not feeding him, and it's really easy to not feed him. I remember watching My 600-Pound Life, and one of the things that always got me was that there's a 600-pound person who can't get out of bed because they're so fucking fat, and they're just like the fat is pouring over themselves. They're just basically like a head on a blob. There's not even like limbs anymore. It's just a mound with like a head in the side of it, almost like Mount Rushmore came to life or something like that. And there's always one person there that is feeding them still. And they ask him why they keep feeding them, and they go, hey, I have to, because it's always a guy too. He's very small. He's about my size and very effeminate, and he's like really nervous. And he's like, I just have to because if I don't, they get mad. And I don't want them to get mad. And it's like, what are they going to do? They're 600 pounds. They can't get out of bed. One lady, they tried to drive her. They had to get the fire department to move her. Like a crane in a construction team. They had like cut the side of the wall of the house out. It took a team and demolition experts and engineers, the people that landed the rocket on the moon, a team from NASA. That's what it took to get this lady out of her house. You know what I mean? If your excuse is that she's mean to you, she gets mad, dude, just shut the door and walk away. Like, if she's bedridden, just be like, I'm giving you water, and I'm not coming back in here for 5 months. Okay? I'm just going to let you burn this fat off, keto style. Hear about this. I'll plug in David Goggins in the Joe Rogan podcast. You could have that in salt water and just burn this fucking fat off. You're mad at me. Well, then fucking come chase me. Come get me. You can't because you ate too much. And it's really not their fault. They've expressed their desire to eat and their need, as they like to call it, to eat. They are pretty honest about it, these 600-pound people. And it's this one little fucker that keeps feeding them in some weird codependent relationship that can't be stopped. And quite frankly, that dude is the one that really needed to go to therapy. How could you keep feeding somebody that's that fat? I mean, it's gross. It's tragic and it's gross. You know? So like I was saying, just turn your music up. Find some good music too, not some like bummer shit, man. You find like, I find that I like to bump classic rock now pretty loud in the car because they had a lot of negativity. I like how this generation of people, and this is pretty much everybody across the board, because it seems like because of the internet, everybody's acting like this is like the worst time in history to be alive, or like human beings can't process it, and it's the weirdest time to be alive. And it's like, imagine being like a caveman and you didn't even know what like a saber-toothed tiger was. You don't think that would be a little bit stranger, just to be conscious and to be running? You're definitely not the apex predator. There's no AC, no running water. It's just mosquitoes all over you all the time. And if you break a leg, you die. You know, wouldn't that be worse? Then literally all the problems, man, are just on the internet, and you can just shut the laptop. Just don't bring your phone outside. And really, you'll probably be left alone. It's not a terrible time to be alive. Oh, there's like a genocide and a war. That's been baseline human reality the whole time. There's actually like less now than there was back then. And you got clean water. You know, not everybody has clean water. But if you got clean water, that's like a huge step up. You know, this is one of the things that's pissed me off a little bit about, and I understand you need some like motivational, some like motivational podcasting, you know, occasionally. Some people need, you know, a couple of the real in shape motherfuckers to yell at them and get them going. There's like a balance here. But at the same time, you're creating this like illusion and spreading this mentality that $100,000 a year is like not enough and you should be ashamed of yourself. And I don't buy into that. I think if you have the bills paid, everybody's happy, and you're healthy, you're good to go. You got a good baseline, and you shouldn't be like fucking tripping all the time, trying to get a six-pack and beating yourself like Dobby and Harry Potter because you don't have an 8-pack, man. Like, it's, you know, I think people could take a huge chill pill and just realize how much better we have it than like really 99% of history. You know, like the Gen Z anxiety and growing up on the phone, it's like I don't understand. I get it because it's like really addictive, but it's also you don't have to do that. You could just stare at the wall for like 6 hours, which I've done that. I've stared at the wall for a couple hours. Not that bad. The wall doesn't. The thing about the wall is it's not liberal or Republican. It's just a fucking wall. And you can sit there with your own thoughts. And if you're too scared to sit there with your own thoughts, maybe do a little bit of work. Maybe just sit there for 3 hours and realize it's not that bad. Your thoughts aren't that bad, you know. All right. I'm just really preaching to people here. You know, this isn't really a comedy podcast anymore. This is me lecturing people. And what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a guy that gets 4 views a week from people that I know personally, which is not a good start. But I'm going to keep fucking doing it. You're not going to stop me from podcasting just because you're not listening to it. I will contribute to the overwhelming amount of information and discourse online that is clearly helping society and Western civilization spiral out of control. I'll do it. You know, I lecture people. I just did about staying with your own thoughts. And now I'm going to advertise my own podcast just so you don't have to do that. I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, that's right. And I'm wearing a sweater right now. What are you going to fucking do about it? What are you going to do? I'm coming off a really bad bomb. One of those shows that, dude, every single comic except 2 comics bombed. And when I'm saying we bombed, I'm talking about silence. Just silence for the whole show. And I don't know what happened. I know Robert Tabbitt's going to blame himself for his bomb up top hosting, but dude, I went up there later and it was not there. And I'm talking about jokes that I've gotten applause breaks on were just not there. So I don't know. It was very bizarre. It's a tough room. That room that we do it in is tough. I mean, it's tough when there's a balcony above the stage, and on the balcony, people are just bowling. I think that would be... I'm not an expert on really the artistic experience. I'm still learning how to do this. But I think I've done it long enough to know that bowling kind of gets in the way of a comedy performance. Just the loud sound of balls crashing into pins and people upstairs who don't give a fuck, who will like yell shit at you when you suck. I think that does get in the way of a comedy show. And that's just my take. Granted, I'm not an expert, but I think if, you know, you're doing a comedy show in the fucking Kung Fu and Cymbals Club is having their meeting upstairs and they're just kicking and slamming cymbals, I think it might be a little bit distracting. But maybe we just all failed as comics. Maybe that one was on us because fucking two of the comics did well. It is really wild to watch because I've seen the comics I've seen do well. I've also seen them bomb and then everybody else did well. I don't know. Everybody else did well. So what is it? Really, before I start this podcast, I should probably gather like a cohesive thought. But that's, you know, that's not really how my brain works, is it? The cat's just looking at shit right now. He's trying to he's plotting and scheming, man. Yeah, I don't know. It was very bizarre. I think on my end, the notes that I'm going to take is I came out, I totally just aggressed. I think I was a little too aggressive, you know, but I was running the show and I think I took a tone with them that would have communicated that I didn't want them to be there and I was kind of upset with them. But in my defense, I was lighting every comic and I watched every single comic up to that point, eat shit except for one. And the one guy that didn't eat shit was supposed to be a guest spot, and I let him run the light. And then when I gave him the light, everybody groaned and got upset, and then they just brought me up. And they barely even clapped for me. And I said that two girls in the front looked like 2/3 of the Dixie Chicks, and then they got upset when I said that. Which, like, I was like, dude, I didn't say I was going to punch you in the face. You know what I mean? I just said you looked like the Dixie Chicks, and people, like, laughed in an embarrassed way. So I don't know. That room, though, Speakeasy, that room is notoriously... I mean, it's really 1 out of 5 shows go well, but people keep showing up every week. It's like this weird machine that just churns out bad comedy experiences for tourists. A lot of them don't give a fuck, and they seem like they don't want to be there really at all. And I don't know why people keep showing up. It was even like so bad that two of the audience members came up to me, and they were like, well, we go to East Austin Comedy Club regularly, and we've seen all of you perform, and all you guys did great, and I don't know what happened, you know. And I was like, I don't know either. You know, this is just, it's a tough room, I guess. We could break it down to comfort and allowing the crowd to kind of get lost in the show, which, again, I would say that bowling upstairs gets in the way of. Just the loud sound of people bowling strikes and cheering kind of does get in the way of the show. Again, there's that. And then just a band next door playing music. I'd say these things get in the way of comfort and the attention span of the audience. I really think, you know, the venue is just as... To me, it's like a trifecta. It's like a triangle. Good comic, good audience, but a really overlooked part for whatever reason, and this is only in Austin, Texas, really, this happens, is like the venue is important. It's almost more important than the comic and the audience, because the venue is what creates the atmosphere and puts the audience and the comic in the mind state to be ready to perform and to want to be there. You know, that's why you go see people in like a theater, and the audience is ready to go see a comedy show, and they get excited, and they're in a beautiful theater, and then the comic gets to be behind the curtain getting nervous in all the right ways and excited that, holy shit, this is happening for me. I'm a fucking comedian, and I get to go on stage in a theater and do it. And it draws the best out of both sides of that equation. When you're in a room that isn't set up properly and people are fucking bowling, it gets in everybody's heads, and it makes everybody like detached from the thing, and it makes it very tough. So that's my 2 cents on it. You know what I mean? All right, what else happened this week? Really just that. 2 shows on Friday got canceled. That's another thing about Texas comedy. Comedy will never trump football. It will never, ever. In Austin, if UT is playing or football is on, man, you get ready to not have a comedy show. I remember we did one up in Georgetown. Some NFL game was on, and literally there was 80 people in this bar, all talking and not facing the stage. And so we were just doing comedy to the backs of 80 people talking. There's just a gigantic loud bar. Nobody would pay attention. And I said like shit that I won't repeat, just heinous, evil stuff, just to see if anybody would like listen. Like insulting the dude's shirt in his sexuality right in front of me. The guy wouldn't even turn around. I'd be like, hey, I'm talking to you. Nobody turn around. That type of thing will happen. So, yeah, you know, what is it? What is that? All right, what's up in the world? What's up with like fucking the news and stuff? The cat's asleep. That's good. He's not bitching at me anymore. What's up with that? LA is on fire. And I feel like, I'm not sure, but I feel like that happens quite a bit. I'm not saying it's not a big deal or it's not horrible, but it seems to be a recurring problem in America. It's like school shootings. California's on fire again. And again, this is backseat driving. I'm really not going to try to politicize it. That's one thing I hated, man. I got on the internet. Within like 30 minutes, people on X and on Twitter or whatever you want to call it are fucking politicizing this fire. I think if you do that, you're a fucking dirtbag. Then you need to get offline. Like, what a shit thing to do. Just to have a bunch of people's lives be ruined in a matter of hours, and you're just going to sit there and try to use that to, like, shit on the Democrats or shit on the Republicans. You're a sack of shit. You know, if you do that, you're an asshole. I don't care. It could wait. This could all be, and like the thing about the people that are talking this shit, they're not going there to volunteer. They're just talking shit online, just contributing to like this endless cycle of propaganda. They're a fucking asshole for doing that. Every right-wing person that's been shitting on the Democrats for not having enough firefighters in LA or whatever crazy shit they're saying is not volunteering to help. So suck a cock, quite frankly. Suck a fucking dick for doing that. If you're not going to help, shut up about it. Like, really. It's really kind of disgusting. Because, like, once the fire is put out, then have the discussion. Right now, it doesn't help at all. It's just you people fucking bitching online. And now, what am I doing? Just bitching on my podcast. Really not being funny. You know, and I've tried to be funny on this. And this is just going to be me talking from now on. Because I still have not figured out how to be funny when nobody's listening. I don't know what's funny about this. I can't just be funny in a vacuum. What is funny in a vacuum? If you tell a joke about eating ass in the woods and there's no one around to hear it, do you really tell the joke at all? That's a good question, I think, for American audiences. Yeah, I got to learn how to be, I don't know, maybe learn how to be a happier guy. I don't even feel that bad most of the time. Audiences think I'm mad at them. Maybe I'll just work on explaining that whatever this is, I'm not mad at you. I don't know what comes out. I don't know why it draws it out of me when people are staring at me, but I just, at a certain point, I don't even know. There's not really. Here we go again. Here we go. The mental fucking breakdown of Alex Olinger. Yeah, the LA fires, man. Why can't it just be, I hope people get out. Let's go help them. Instead of some right-wing talking head dickbag just using that as grounds to criticize LA's government again. I'm pretty sure fire doesn't care if you're Republican or not. Pretty sure Texas had fires too. I think one of the biggest fires in history where like 1 million acres burned. They were pretty quiet about that, weren't they? You know, also there's like this weird thing with like people are supposed to be anti-government, criticizing the government for not doing enough. And it's like, you guys were the ones that didn't want them to do anything. Isn't this what you wanted? If you wanted government out of people's lives, well, then they shouldn't be there when a fucking fire happens. They should be out playing golf. You know, you criticize them for being bourgeoisie, you know, going to Cancun and all this. when something bad happens, I thought that's what you wanted. I thought you wanted the government in Cancun doing nothing. But that's just me. You know? I don't know. I'm an idiot. I just ate cereal today. And I was like, I'm just going to talk and upload it online. To who? I don't know. To maybe 3 to 4 views I'm averaging. I got 30 early on, and that slowly dwindled down to 4. 4 consistent listeners. And that's good. That's a good trajectory. You know, it's such a conundrum too, because you're trying to have fun with art is not the same thing as trying to make it. Trying to make it requires like a very savvy kind of business sense in a lot of things to go right that are outside of your control. Trying to make it is stressful. Having fun, you could just fucking do that, but that requires like a deep change in a person where they really just give up. And I'm trying to get there and give up, but man, I just can't give up right now. This is not fun, is it? What I'm saying is not fun. I might just delete this. I'm going to upload it because I don't feel like doing another. You know, I think the next podcast should be things I like rather than things that irritate me. But dude, shut the fuck up about the fires. I mean, really, none of you are firefighters. I really think that you're not out there risking your life to put this thing out. To just stop. But they can't stop. They got to make a point. They'll never rest, dude. People need somebody to blame. People need likes and subscriptions. People need to sell me undie ads. You know, that's one thing that at least the fascists in Germany didn't do was sell advertising. You know, they at least had the integrity to just do their genocide in their racism. Really kind of pro bono in a sense. They weren't trying to market it back to everybody. You know, maybe we could use a little bit more of that. Hitler wasn't giving speeches and in the middle selling vitamins. That would just, on top of everything else, you're going to sell me vitamins? I mean, when does it stop? When does it stop, dude? And Twitter, like, it's not a good source of information. But that seems to be where everybody's dumping all their time and energy into is like YouTube and Twitter and social media, and it just does not produce anything beneficial. It just produces a gigantic distraction that you end up getting lost in, and it just shreds your psyche in your attention span. Yeah, this is I'm really being I'm being a cunt on this one. I really am. But I don't know. I guess I got to get it out. I'm going to go outside after this and just walk around in the sun. I can't keep doing this shit. Go for a walk around my neighborhood. This is just wild that my brain's in this place, even though it's a beautiful day. I got to get outside or something. But Twitter is like, you know, it's like a million monkeys with a million typewriters could write the works of Shakespeare. Twitter is a million monkeys with a million typewriters that are trying to figure out how to put out a fire. Instead of that, they just wound up being weirdly racist. That's what the monkeys came up with. You know what I like? I like books. I'll say it. I think if you didn't write a book on the subject, I don't want to hear from you. I don't even care if the book is correct. But like, at least you put in the effort about a thing to write it. You know what I mean? People shit on Jordan Peterson. Yeah, there's room to criticize his ideals, but at least the guy had the attention span and the dedication to write a couple books. You know, so I'd say he's one notch up from some of the other people that just sit on their ass and just tweet and blog all day. I think the book is where it's at. The book is the marker. Like, that should be the requirement to get in the door. Did you make it 300 pages with cohesive thoughts on a subject? If you didn't, you get the fuck out. We're done with you. We don't want to have you around, you know? You could just, we're taking pencils and erasers and we're chucking them at your head. You're going to get locked in a room. What is the internet but a room full of people yelling at each other, trying to solve a problem? I don't even know if they're trying to solve anything. It's just people yelling at each other because they want to contribute to society. And here's another thing. Contributions, just because you contribute doesn't mean it's beneficial. People are like, I want to contribute to the discussion. It's like, maybe you fucking shouldn't. Maybe you should go exercise or try to write a book. Read a book, maybe. I want to contribute to the discussion to really further and progress our ideas as a society. You have an IQ of 80, of 75. Please don't contribute. You know, when I was growing up in the 90s, our local IHOP, a guy got arrested because he got caught jerking off into the pancake batter at IHOP. He was working there. And that guy technically made a decent contribution to those pancakes. But it didn't mean it didn't help the pancakes. I think that's what happened in the last election, is I think they were like, we have the ingredients for the first ever female president pancake. We're going to sprinkle a little Indian, a little vice presidential run in there, sprinkle a little black. You know, we got the corporate suit she's going to wear, sprinkle that. And then 10 million people just jerked off into that pancake batter, and it ruined the dish. It got nothing to do with what the pancake actually was. It was just you wouldn't stop contributing. And now we are where we are. And now LA is on fire. And I understand this is a real downer of a podcast, okay? I understand that this is probably not what you wanted to hear today. And quite frankly, by this point, you probably turned it off. And good for you. But I don't know. It was just what's in my head. I'll work on being positive. The thing is, I don't really enjoy talking that much. I do this because it's supposed to, people say it helps your comedy act. I don't know what this has helped me do. Really, the only thing I've learned in comedy is I need to keep getting better at comedy. I really just learned I'm probably not that good at comedy. And I don't even know if that's like a fact. I don't know if I'm bad at comedy or people are just fucking bowling while I'm trying to do my set. Or maybe tourists who are on a date who are expecting the setting of a cruise ship, you know, and have never heard of anybody comedically except Kevin Hart. Maybe they're not the best audience to run your shit on. Or maybe I'm just not that funny. But I don't know. I count the laughs. I've counted the laughs. Or maybe I just can't get through a thought with confidence. Just got that voice in the back of my head being like, what the fuck are you doing? That's every day. I just walk around. I'm just doing things, and there's a voice in the back of my head going, oh, really? A fucking iced Americano? That's what you are? You're an iced Americano guy. That's what you are. Do you think FDR? Do you think Ernest Hemingway was an iced Americano guy? I think they drank their coffee black. What the fuck are you doing? Your friends? Look at your friends. Look at other people. They seem to be doing well. And what do you got? You got a little sweater. You got a car with duct tape on the window. Doesn't even have AC in it. How many summers can you go in Texas without AC in the car? How many? And I say, you know what I say to that voice? I say a lot. That's what I say. I say I'm a man's man. And I can go a lot of fucking summers without AC in my car. You know? Ancient people didn't have AC. Human beings can survive without AC. They do it in Central America. So what? I sweat. People sweat. Get a nice bottle of smart water from the gas station. We're rocking it out, baby. Who needs a sauna? Who needs to go to the gym? Who needs to work out and go sit in a sauna when it's 120 degrees in your shitty car every summer in Texas? You know why I do that? Because I'm a real American man. That's what I am. That's why I have a cat. And that's why I podcast, because I'm an American man. That's why I criticize the people that criticize. That's why I contribute while being negative about the idea of contributing. That's why I'm a complete fucking hypocrite, apparently, because I'm an American man, baby. That's why I ate cereal and coffee for breakfast. That's why I will not actually protest the war. That's why I'm not moving in to help the fires. I'm not. But you don't see me out here criticizing Gavin Newsom. Is that his name? The governor of California? I won't criticize the man. You won't catch me in a fire. You also won't catch me running for office, baby. You'll catch me. You know where you'll catch me? In my living room with my cat. Playing GameCube. Trying to fucking beat the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers game for nostalgia purposes, so I can try and relive some time in my life where I had some youth left and some fucking joy while I try to stomach the amount of gluten and preservatives I've shoved in my face because I'm an American man. That's why my mom buys me socks for Christmas. That's where I get all of my new jackets, my mom, because I'm a white American suburban man. And I'll continue to be that way till the day that I die. I'll work a job, I'll quit, I'll get another job. And after that, what am I going to have to show for it? I'm not sure. I'll have a hell of a lot of good stories. Oh, I will. And one day this podcast will be in the top 1,000 podcasts in the state of Texas. Yeah, it will. And it'll continue to rise as I stir controversy and spew hatred and sell MeUndies ads. And really, I'll just contribute to the downward spiral of everything because I'm an American man. You know, and that's, you know, today was not the happiest podcast. It wasn't the most fun, but that's the podcast for today. Thank you very much, everybody.